Destroying Transphobia. What's up, guys? It's your girl Riot here. Today we're going to be doing another episode of Destroying Anti-Trans Rhetoric. Today's episode is about probably the most anti-trans rhetoric there is. It's just biology. You can't change sex. So let's repack what they mean when they say that. When someone usually says it's just biology, you can't change sex, they're usually treating biology as like one simple switch. Like, as if sex is like defined by one factor, and that factor like determines everything about a person socially, legally, and medically. But that's not actually how biology works. First, like, what is sex? Biological sex is made out of multiple components, like chromosomes, gonads, hormones, internal reproductive anatomy, external genitalia, secondary sex characteristics like fat distribution and muscle mass, and voice. And most of the times, these traits do align in a typical pattern, but most of the time, it's not the same as always. Intersex people exist, chromosomal variation exists, hormonal variation exists. There are XY individuals with androgen like insensitivity who develop typical female bodies, who develop like masculine bodies. And there are people born with XX chromosomes who have male bodies. Biology already shows that like sex is a cluster of traits, not a single binary switch. So when like someone asks you, oh, you can't change sex, I would ask, what part? So chromosomes, no, we can't change that. We cannot currently like rewrite someone's chromosomes in every cell. But the hormonal part of like your sex, yes, you can change that. I've been on hormones for about a month now. Secondary sex characteristics, yeah, you can change that. Fat distribution, muscle mass, skin texture, body hair patterns, breast tissue, and voice range can very much change through hormones and surgery. Reproductive capacity, often you can't, but reproductive capacity is not how we define social womanhood or manhood in everyday life. A postmenopausal woman is still a woman. An infertile man is still a man. So the statement, you can't change sex, oversimplifies something that's actually multi-layered. And also, we need to like separate descriptive biology from social categorization. Biology describes traits. Society assigns categories. We already do this like constantly. For example, like legal sex markers on documents are not chromosome tests. They are administrative categories. Doctors don't karyotype you before checking a box on a form. We rely on visible traits, identity, and documentation. When someone transitions medically, they are not claiming that their birth biology never existed. They're altering the aspects of sex that medicine can alter to align their bodies with their identity and reduce distress. That is a treatment model based on decades of like psychological and medical research. Like the major medical bodies that evaluate evidence systematically, like the American Medical Association and the World Health Organization, support transition-related care because it reduces measurable distress and suicide risk in people diagnosed with gender dysphoria. That's not an ideology. That's an outcome-based medicine. And third, like the phrase "it's just biology" like assumes biology is rigid and like purely binary in all aspects, but biology is like full of spectrum-based variation. For example, like height exists on a spectrum, hormone levels exist on a spectrum, bone density exists on a spectrum. Even sex traits exist on a bimodal like distribution, not a perfectly separated binary. And if you don't know what bimodal means, it means like two clusters with overlap. That overlap matters. So I guess the real question is, how do we categorize people in social and legal systems in a way that reflects reality and minimizes harm? Medicine has answered that for gender dysphoria. Aligning the body with gender identity reduces harm. Law has answered that in many regions. Recognizing gender identity provides social stability and reduces discrimination. So biology is not being denied, it's being contextualized. Sex really only matters in like a strict reproductive biology textbook sense about like gamete production. But woman and man in society are broader categories than gametes. If someone transitions, changes hormone profiles, changes secondary sex traits, lives socially as a woman, and perceives socially as a woman, and is legally recognized as a woman, then saying you can't change sex does not invalidate her lived classification, or his, if they're trans male. It only highlights that chromosomes are fixed. And chromosomes are not really visible. You don't see an XY over my head, or an XXY, or nothing. You go over like the stereotype, because I don't even know my chromosomes. I never checked. Anyway, that's going to be the end of this video. Follow us for more, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.